What on earth is the low FODMAP diet? How does it work and what foods can you and can't you eat? And how does diet actually impact on Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis? Well, I'll explain all in this video and tell you where you can download this free nutrition and IBD guide. Welcome back to my channel, the only place for Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis tips, tricks and information. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell to be notified every time I post a video. And if you want to join an exclusive community of people who receive my personal tips and tricks on Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis and get free stuff like that free IBD guide I mentioned, make sure you visit the link in the description box below and sign up to my newsletter. So before we get started, if you have Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis and are thinking of changing your diet to the low FODMAP diet, I suggest you speak to your doctor who can refer you to a dietitian who will be able to guide you through the whole process safely. Right, so the low FODMAP diet stands for low fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides and polyols diet. It's such a mouthful, so I'll just refer it to the low FODMAP diet from here on. So what are FODMAPs? They are basically carbohydrates found in foods such as fruit, vegetables, bread, cereals, nuts and legumes. It is impossible to guess the exact amount of FODMAP each food contains, so going on this diet will be a bit of trial and error to identify the foods that don't agree with you, which is why you need to see a dietitian if you are thinking of going on this diet. Now with FODMAPs, some people find them hard to digest, and when FODMAPs are eaten, they will move through the small intestines before they will arrive into your large intestine, better known as your colon. Now, in your large intestine, you can find bacteria which uses these FODMAPs as a food source. Now, this is important because a process called fermentation occurs, which, remember, the F in FODMAP stands for fermentable. So what it means, these carbohydrates are fermentable and undergo this fermentation process where the bacteria uses them as food, and as a byproduct of this fermentation, gas is produced, which then collects in your large intestines and can cause symptoms such as diarrhea, bloating, and wind. Before I explain what the other letters stands for, the term Saccharides is what's given to carbohydrates, and they can be split into 4 categories. So monosaccharides, disaccharides, oligosaccharides and polysaccharides. Now monosaccharides are the simplest form of carbohydrates made up of a single sugar, hence the name mono. When you have 2 sugars, it becomes a disaccharide. If you have sugars that are in a chain of about 3 to 10, then it becomes an oligosaccharide. And more than 10 sugars in a chain, it becomes a polysaccharide. So monosaccharides are the simplest form of carbohydrates, and the more you add sugars to the chains, the more complex it gets. So to recap, F is fermentable, O is oligosaccharides found in foods like wheat, rye, onions and garlic. D is disaccharides and includes lactose, which is found in dairy products, and some people with IBD can actually be lactose intolerant, which means they do not have the enzyme lactase that helps break down the sugar lactose that is found in these dairy products. Now this causes lactose to remain in the gut where it is fermented by the bacteria within the intestines, producing gas, contributing to the bloating, stomach pains and diarrhea. The M in the low FODMAP diet is for monosaccharides and include the sugar fructose, which is found in apples and corn syrups. And finally, the P for polysaccharides, which are the sugars sorbitol and mannitol, which are found naturally in fruits and vegetables, but also in artificial sweeteners. Now, some people with IBD and IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome, which shouldn't be confused with IBD because they are 2 separate things, have found some benefits to following a low FODMAP diet. The benefits from eliminating or even reducing FODMAPs include a reduction on symptoms such as bloating, which can also cause pain as well as diarrhea. Now, these changes don't happen overnight and can take between 2 to 6 weeks to see some effect. And that's pretty much a brief summary of the low FODMAP diet, and I do go into so much more detail along with other diets in this free guide that I have made for you, and if you want to download that, hit the link in the description box below. Otherwise, check out these videos for more useful tips, tricks and information on Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, and make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell to be notified every time I post a video, as well as leaving a like and a comment if you enjoyed this, and I can't wait to see you all in the next episode.